YouTube should not charge you to watch videos in 4K. And there's a lot of stuff that they can do to change the way their entire platform works that would be so simple, and it would fix a lot of the problems that were mentioned in this video here. So in this video, Linus says that YouTube should charge for 4K, and he lays out a whole bunch of reasons, and I'm gonna go through them and tell you why most of them are slightly from the wrong perspective. And we can really simply break this down by just shifting the perspective over from where Linus sits to sort of a side perspective that's looking both at the creators and those who consume the content. Before we get started, let's head over to Whokeys and unlock our copy of Windows. By using coupon code TS25, you can get 25% off these prices here. I use Windows 10 Pro. You can also get Windows 10 Home, and both of these will upgrade to Windows 11. You can get that whenever you're purchasing your key. Also, I want to note that if you get Windows 10 Home and you upgrade it to Windows 11, they will force you to use an online account. With Windows 11 Pro, however, you can use a local account, just so you know. You can also get Office 2019 with that same discount. So go ahead and put TS25 in here as your coupon code, hit apply, and then you can see we can get Windows 10 Pro for $14.85. Once you're finished, if you want to access your key, you click on your name on the top right, click on User Center, and you'll see My Purchase Orders. Right here, you'll be able to view the keys that you've purchased just by clicking on View Keys and Codes. Then you will see your code right here. Just go ahead and copy this code, press Start, type Activate, and you'll see activation settings come up. Click on that, then click Change Product Key. Right there, you can paste in your code and hit Next, and then you will be activated. It's very simple. So don't pay those retail prices for your copy of Windows or Office. Head over to whokeys.com and use coupon code TS25. A lot of the people out there in the community are not actually just community members, but they are the resource which pays the bills. And when you look at the world that way, having everyone out there is the resource that pays the bills, of course, when there's something like this, you're going to be like, well, the users who are watching the content are the ones who should be paying the bill. There's ads, and there's more ads, and there's more ads, but, you know, the video is getting bigger and bigger and bigger with all these extra pixels and all this higher bit rate and stuff like that. That takes up a lot of money. People watching it should pay. I'm going to come at this from the other way around. Back in the day, YouTube was young and was able to serve all this video content, and nobody really complained that much. YouTube has way more users now, and everybody's running around with one of these really crappy lens, that size, shooting 4K video. Yes, it's clear and all that stuff. You could just upload that to YouTube 4K, and it's way higher bit rate. It's much bigger. And, you know, I'll agree with Linus. You really don't need to be watching 4K on your phone, and a lot of people who consume on their phone, in my opinion, should just not even have 4K as an option. 4K does have a much higher bit rate than 1080p, so even though it's a smaller screen, you might be able to see a few more details, but this is not a major motion picture. This is YouTube. If we're watching some other content, like some of the shows or the movies that you rent on YouTube, of course, make them higher bit rate, but you don't need extreme fidelity when it comes to watching somebody's vlog or someone sitting in front of the camera. We don't need extreme fidelity for this video. This is not a major motion picture. We don't have any background blur. This video does not need to be any higher than 1080p. It just doesn't. But when it comes to like the more artistic content like shows and stuff like that, maybe there's a justifiable argument that says that those should be higher than 1080p. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's get back to the few other things. Talked about YouTube Premium because there's a lot of ads on YouTube. And after a while, there were so many ads that people were like, hey, we're angry. We don't want any more ads. And YouTube was like, we make money on this anger. Now, of course, they can make money on anger because there is no alternatives. YouTube's basically a monopoly. You don't have anywhere else to go. And the rules with capitalism is they will do as much as they can and get away with as much as they can and extract as much out of you as possible before you leave. And that's going to be a very high bar because there's no competition. So they will abuse their customers and their creators as much as possible. Anyway, they're like, well, we could do YouTube Premium. Cost you this much, and you're going to get access to ad-free content. They make more money on their YouTube Premium, of course. So, of course, you know, they're going to like that. And they're going to want more of that. So they're always pushing like, hey, you're joining YouTube Premium. They want you to do that. And, you know, Linus is saying maybe you should be paying for that 4K since it's taken up so much bandwidth and so much hard drive space. Here's the size of videos. Like this is from their video there. They're showing the size of 1 minute of footage right there. Look at that. 4K is taking up so much. And where's that other one? And then here they adjusted the size of the video based upon how much we're uploading. And this is how much data, the amount of data that's getting uploaded now. This is from 2020, probably even higher now. This is the real problem. The fact that we have this much data being uploaded and the fact that the data takes up this much space. So how do we fix that without forcing you, the viewer, to have to pay for it all? I think the focus should be shifted to the content creators, the people who are uploading all of this data. And there's a very simple way to do that without removing everyone's rights. So there's already some stuff in place. You can go to your channels and features and all that stuff. And then we have our, channel features and eligibility. We have 3 different tiers here that unlock new features. We could add to this list. You have to verify your phone number and stuff just to be able to do live streaming in 15-minute videos and create custom thumbnails, because you need to be able to, prove you're not just like a spam account or whatever like that. And then we have some more advanced features here. Why not add to this list for the creators and be like, listen, okay, your videos, in order to do 4K, well, you have to get to a point where you can monetize your videos. So you have to have enough subscribers, I think it's like 1,000 or something, where you can actually start to monetize your videos. Because once you monetize your videos, then YouTube can take a cut and make back some of the, the revenue that may be spent, some of the money that may be spent on dealing with the bandwidth and the storage for all of that huge data. So I think that should be set in place. You can still upload at 1080p, and that's going to be 99% of the time good enough for most people, and I doubt anyone will complain. Once you get to that point, then you can do 4K. If you're uploading like an hour or 2 hours of 4K stuff every single day, you should have a limit to that and be like, okay, if you want to be able to upload more than 2 hours of 4K content a day, okay, you can do that, but you need to get to this next tier that's like so many subscribers and so many views and so much ad revenue generated from your channel, so that can be what pays for all of the storage and all of the bandwidth. Let's say you don't meet that criteria, but you have something that you want to put online in 4K. Maybe it's a portfolio of your video game development and you want to be able to show it to people in the highest possible fidelity, but you're like, oh, I can't do it. Well, you could always go host it on your own thing, which is going to cost you when you show people. But if you want to put it on YouTube, why not do this? Say, okay, you don't meet any of the requirements, but you want to upload in 4K at high bitrate. By all means, you can do that. You just have to pay us $10 per hour of footage or whatever it is. Make it a small fee. And the fee should be small because Google has a substantially lower cost of doing business when compared to someone like me who has to rely upon Google servers or Amazon servers or Microsoft Azure or something like that to host my content. They own the infrastructure, they own the buildings, they own the data centers, and their data centers are all over the place. So they don't own all of the infrastructure from A to B, and they do have to pay for some of this that goes from point A to point B, but they are trying to work together with Microsoft and Amazon and all the other companies to lower those costs and be like, listen, you can use our pipes and we can use your pipes and all the water will get to all the people. I'm kind of making it a joke there, but you get the idea. They're trying to work together to lower their costs because they essentially are the internet at this point. Everywhere you go, there's going to be a Google ad everywhere. Everything you touch has to go through one of these, ends up going through a lot of these places here. So there are a lot of these places all around. And a lot of these are built in places where the energy is, low cost, and a lot of them have renewable energy on top of that. The entire thing is based upon electricity. Voltage going through the wires, the Ethernet cables, that is just an electric current. So you can pay for this all. A lot of it, we still have the storage space and the hard drives and stuff like that, but you can pay for a lot of the bandwidth just by having cheap energy or renewable energy. So building data centers and putting solar panels on top of the roof, a great way to go. And I think that's really how we should look at this. I think the creators should pay if they want to upload exorbitant amounts of 4K footage. And you know what? If they were to put some of that stuff in place, this problem of having, so much data being stored will be fixed overnight. Like that amount of data will go way down. You'll still get lots of videos on YouTube. A lot of them will be 1080p. But what that'll cut down on is like people who are like, hey, I've got a baby and it's eating cake and I really want to show my aunt. So I've recorded a 4K video on this phone of my ugly child shoving cake into its mouth, and I'm going to send it over to my aunt. She doesn't care if it's 4K. She doesn't care if it's 1080p. 720 is probably fine. She's going to look at it on her old phone she barely knows how to use, because that's what 99% of the public is like. They don't know how any of this stuff works. They just pick it up and expect it to work. And they don't even, this is evident by the people who look at TikTok all day. Those videos are terrible. They look terrible. They're awful, but nobody seems to care. I don't see people like online screaming, yeah, I would use TikTok more, but it looks bad. It's got pixelization, low bit rate. Nobody knows what low bit rate means. I mean, we do, and Linus's audience does. But like the vast majority of Philistines out there who run around with these devices that they bought it because it said, this one said 46 megapixels and the other one said 42, so this one's better. They don't know. These unwashed masses, they don't know and they don't care. The creators care more, and there's a few discerning people like you, Linus's community, they're the discerning ones. We know. But let the creators pay the bill. I don't want to pay the bill, but I think that would be more fair. It just makes more sense because the people who are uploading all that ridiculously high quality content are the ones who are driving up the costs. I upload a lot of my stuff in 1080p. Nobody complains. I upload something in 4K. It's like nobody says anything. Nobody. Does this video need to be in 4K? Do you need to see that in 4K? I'm seeing it just fine in 1080p. I bet if I go down to 720p, look, I could still read this. This is just an information video. It's not a major motion picture. It's not some deep form of artwork. There's another thing that we can do, and he mentioned, I was glad he brought this up because the AV1 codec is important to talk about because it's going to replace, in the future, it's going to replace a lot of the codecs that we use right now, but it's not being adopted by the industry entirely yet, and it requires an enormous amount of computational power. The AV1 codec is very similar to like H.265. I believe it's open source, but it's a little bit better than H.265, which already cut the bandwidth needs in half compared to H.264. It's an amazing compression algorithm, but it requires a lot of computational power. And so if you just uploaded a bunch of your footage in super high quality 4K to YouTube would have to crunch a lot of data in order to compress that down. It would use a lot of bandwidth and a lot of power and stuff like that. But here is a solution to that. And again, I think it should be on the creators. But we'll need some industry support. So what Google could do is they could create a codec pack and give it to Adobe, give it to Macrium, give it to Sony for Vegas, give it to Apple for Final Cut, and be like, this is a beautiful AV1 codec or whatever, AV1, and here's some AV1 settings. Be like, okay, here are the guidelines. If you want to have 4K without paying the extra fees or anything like that, use our AV1 codec. When you're exporting, just click on 4K YouTube AV1 and it'll be ready to go. We won't have to do any processing because you're doing it for us, because each individual processing one video at a time is a lot easier to deal with than YouTube having to process, terabits of data at one time. So that issue could be solved if they put that into place. And then if everyone followed those guidelines, if they uploaded something and they changed the settings and tried to up the bit rate or something like that, YouTube could just simply be like, no, you've clicked on upload for this file, we're not going to re-encode this for you. Now, Linus did say it was good that YouTube is continuing to allow any creator to upload in high quality without taking any extra fees, but I disagree with that. I think that it only makes sense because if you've built a business and your primary platform is YouTube, you have built a business on somebody else's property and you're expecting them to give you everything for free as you continue to grow and grow and grow, and also put multiple third-party ads that they don't get a cut from. They can't wet their beak on a lot of these ads. You've put a lot of those into your videos. So you're making money from them. You're using your platform to push your store, which we do as well. You're using the platform to grow your audiences outside of YouTube, to grow your Twitter account, to grow your website, to grow Floatplane, to grow whatever it is, your forum. You're using their platform to build your business and build your business community. And I think that instead of being like, hey, we're benefiting massively from this platform, from all the users that are on this platform, and the user should pay for that. I think that's a really perverse way to look at it. I think that the people who benefit the most should pay the most. It's just like I think we should tax the rich, because they are the ones who benefit from the society that has been constructed basically for them. The roads, the infrastructure. If you want to live in a society and have all these benefits, you need to pay your taxes. If you want to be a content creator and benefit massively from the community and all the cool tools and stuff like that, maybe you should pay for that. And you can pay for that just by being big enough to make enough back from your ad revenue. And if not, just pay a few dollars and then you can have 4K. It's so easy to fix without having to put all of the burden on the viewers. Now, what do I think YouTube is going to do? Well, right now they said they're not going to charge for certain tiers of 4K, but I think YouTube is going to try to force people to pay as much as they are willing to pay. And they're going to try to find that threshold of how shitty they can be to you as a viewer or a consumer of content. Well, what can they do? How much can they push before you get so fed up that you leave? And there's nowhere to go. So I don't think what I'm saying is going to happen, but I think that, it would be a better solution than just making you pay for everything. I'm very curious to know how you feel about this. Do you think my take is better? I feel like Linus might need somebody who's just kind of like brain is outside of the business brain and more into like the crazy hippie brain like mine is, to sometimes sit down and like be like, well, yeah, but have you considered this side perspective where we can see everything? Because I think that would shift some of the things he said. Maybe he'll see this and agree with me. I don't know. How you doing, Linus? It'd be good to chat. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you agree with. Better be me, or I will come to your house and put 16 snakes into every box of cereal in your cabinet. I'll do it. I'll also do that if you don't subscribe and click the stupid bell. Last thing, I do have a new album coming out very soon. This album is more of a purist album. I went for like sort of several different pure styles. Got some pure SNES stuff, got some pure Nintendo style stuff, which I don't do a lot. And then I've got a few DOS tracks that are based on the Yamaha OPL2 and ad-lib style stuff, which I'm very fond of, that tinny FM synth sound. And then I also have a few songs that are in the Roland MIDI, like the Roland Sound Canvas, which are like rich people DOS sounds. So I hope you enjoyed the album. It'll be out on the 31st, because that's how I like to do it. The link is going to be in the description, so go over there to Bandcamp and follow Zweihander. And wait for that album. Just sit there and refresh the page over and over and over again. I think you're going to love it. Here's a little sample. I'll see you in the comments.